Ladies and gentlemen, once again, our Master of Ceremonies, Miss Jennifer Griffin.
Thank you and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your dinners. Please welcome Mr. Jeremy Schwat, Chief Program Officer of the Wounded Warrior Project, who will introduce you to this evening's tribute speaker.
Good evening. Wounded Warrior Project is proud once again to support this important event. Each year, it gives us the opportunity to salute all of those who play the often unsung role of saving, sustaining, and then healing the bodies and lives of the brave wounded warriors we together serve. Through our 19 programs, as well as our partnerships with over 100 other service organizations, Wounded Warrior Project strives to build off the life-saving care you provide to help these transitioning service members become the most successful generation of disabled veterans in our nation's history. We work with warriors like Army Staff Sergeant retired Dan Nevins. Dan is an Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran who was seriously wounded in combat operations on November 10, 2004, where he ultimately lost both legs below the knee and sustained a traumatic brain injury. Sergeant Nevins was a patient at Walter Reed Army Medical Center for almost 2 years in total and has endured over 30 surgeries as a result of the wounds he sustained in combat. Over the last decade, Dan has worked not only to overcome his physical limitations, but to thrive in spite of them. Whether he is summiting Mount Kilimanjaro, golfing, snowboarding, or teaching yoga, Dan doesn't let his physical limitations define his capabilities. He gives the credit to his amazing team of military medical professionals for his life, and the Wounded Warrior Project for his attitude to thrive and for the chance to continue to serve his fellow wounded warriors and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dan Nevins.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. You know, what an honor it is for me to be here tonight, to get a chance to pay tribute to some of my heroes, the military medical professionals that work tirelessly day and night to make sure that folks like me, all of us in uniform, have the care that we need to save our lives. Yeah, I had 15 years in the military, so I had a lot of experience with military medical professionals. But it was on November 10th, 2004, that I really began to understand and learn what it was like for this team of heroes. Yeah, that's the day I'll never forget. I remember, if we all remember our history, the Battle of Fallujah was going on. I wasn't in Fallujah, I was in Balad, Iraq, and where Deb was and where Bob Woodruff went. But there were coordinated assaults ongoing throughout the theater, and we responded to intelligence. We decided to meet the enemy where we were, and we were headed out for an early morning combat mission. It was supposed to be a 72-hour dismounted operation. And I remember it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were headed out. We did our pre-combat checks. Everything was great. And I remember it was eerily silent, and all I could hear was that rattle of that 6.2-liter Cummins diesel engine in my Humvee, as I was the lead vehicle in the convoy and the team lead for the dismounted operation. I remember my head was bowed in prayer like it was before every mission, and then boom, my life changed. The silence of that morning was destroyed by the deafening blast that sent my 18,000-pound vehicle about 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. And I remember feeling and hearing the truck basically disintegrate around my body. And I remember I opened my eyes and I realized I'd probably been knocked out for a few seconds because I was no longer in the truck. I was ejected from the truck and my legs remained caught in the twisted and burning metal that used to be the floorboard and undercarriage of that Humvee. I saw instantly that my good friend, Sergeant First Class Mike Ottolini, made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. I knew that I was hurt very, very badly, but I didn't really understand the extent of my injuries. The first person I remember seeing, and maybe in the chaos, was Dan Smee, a combat medic, who immediately went to aid in putting a tourniquet on my left leg because I had severed my femoral artery, and I was losing all my blood in this horrible place on the planet. And the next thing you know, Sergeant Chris Chillis was putting an IV in my arm, getting my blood pressure back up, and my team put themselves in harm's way, removing my legs from my truck that was still on fire. And I was in the helicopter and at that same hospital in Balad that we heard about earlier. And I woke up from my first surgery, and I didn't know my nurse's name, but I had my Deb. And she had told me what had happened. And then I had time with my team. I think I made a joke about returning the roller skates I got for Christmas because, my legs were gone. Thank God for the taxpayers for the best pain medicine money can buy. Yeah, so I had that time with my team, and then I was in Landstuhl, Germany. I fell asleep. I woke up at Landstuhl, Germany, where I spent the next 7 days. And like I said, the Battle of Fallujah was going on, and I wasn't there, but the Battle of Fallujah was in that hospital. It was full of combat wounded, mostly Marines. Fitting it was the Marine Corps birthday. And I remember watching this team of medical professionals doing everything they could all day and all night, saving lives. And that's what I want to point out about the military medical professionals, my heroes. So they're not just doctors and nurses and combat medics, they're all lifesavers. They save lives, it's what they do. Every single day they save lives. And I remember being in that hospital for 7 days, and I had surgery every day, and my team, they didn't lose their bedside manner. Yeah, codes were going off all around. They were losing people. They were saving people. And they remained professional, and I just was so impressed. And then I got to Walter Reed Army Medical Center where I'd spend the next 18 months with surgeries every other day to start, and I just met the most amazing team of people, from my nurse, Erica, who was the only person I trusted for months, to my surgical team. Remember Dr. Scott Showen, and then a young resident named Kyle Potter, who's now the chief of orthopedic surgery at Walter Reed. Yeah, I remember these people because they weren't just some faceless, nameless physician, or it's just somebody. Yeah, they cared about me. They asked how I was doing, how my family was doing. Yeah, they were there in more ways than just being amazing at their jobs and saving lives. Some interesting perspective I got, I remember being on the ward, and there was a civilian rotation of hospitals learning. They were learning from the military, which seems to me like the way I grew up, that's backwards. Yeah, but the civilians were in this hospital to learn how to be better at trauma medicine. And I overheard them say that the orthopedic surgeons at Walter Reed were better at skin grafts than the plastic surgeons in their hospitals, because they've done so many. Our military medical professionals not only advanced combat medicine, they advanced medicine, period. Yeah, my heroes do that every day. Yeah, and like I said, these people, they're lifesavers. Yes, and sometimes their story ends when that patient retires, recovers, or leaves the hospital, and then there's the next one that they have to worry about. But what I want to talk about tonight, just very briefly, is these lives matter. I mean, look at Bob and Lee. Like, their lives matter. What they've taken that tragedy because military medicine saved him. Military medicine was there for Lee when they didn't know what was going to happen to Bob. But then they took that and did something amazing with it and have given back at a national level. But all the lives that are saved, I'm telling you, they're giving back at a grassroots, that's easy for me to say, grassroots level all over the country and all over the world. Sharing stories of inspiration of what it means to overcome adversity and changing the world every single day because of the lives that are saved and of the lifesavers that I'm so fortunate to come up here and briefly pay tribute to. You know, I have an amazing life. You heard Jeremy talking. I can climb Kilimanjaro. I teach yoga. I play golf. I have this rich, wonderful life. Thanks to many of the people in this room and to the people we're about to pay tribute to. Like, I don't think that they know how important what they do every day is. It's just they're called to serve is what stirs them. But their call to serve stirs the call to serve in us. And I get the great privilege to work for Wounded Warrior Project. I give back. I get a chance to give back because I'm still alive. And I look at the logo, you all know it's one warrior carrying another off the battlefield. Yeah, and I was that warrior on the top of that logo for years, and the military medical professionals were the warrior on the bottom. And now because of them, I get a chance to be the warrior on the bottom, and countless of others get to be the warrior on the bottom, showing the way, like leading the way, to let other warriors and families know that they can do anything that they want. That not only survive, but to thrive. And so it's with great privilege I get to stand up here and pay tribute to some of the most important people in the world. Because just by doing your jobs, these honorees, by doing their jobs, they're changing the world for the better. Not only in the advancement of military medicine and then medicine in general, but in the advancement of people and giving people like me a chance to continue to live, to be alive, to still be a dad to my 21-year-old who was 11 when I got hurt, and to become a dad again to my 5-year-old who is everything to me. And without these people that we're about to honor, none of that would have been possible. You have the good privilege to sit with General Allen at my table. He's got a great first name of Daniel, by the way. And he gave me this pin, Soldier for Life. Yeah, it's the first time I've heard of this initiative, but I'm going to wear it every time I get a chance to put it on because I get to be a soldier for life, like my lifetime, what's ahead for the next God knows how many more years because of the people we're about to honor. It's my greatest privilege to have served and worn the uniform of my country and to have been able to lead men in combat. Like, there's not too much that can top that. And because of these people, I have the ability to continue to serve. So for me and my family, thank you. And thank you all for being here and for paying tribute to my heroes. Thank you.